The crystalline halls of the Supremacy Council echoed with the thunderous footsteps of Warlord Kethvak as he strode toward the negotiation chamber. His 8-foot frame, encased in biomechanical armor that pulsed with the energy of a dozen conquered worlds, cast long shadows across the polished floor. Behind him marched his honor guard, elite warriors from the most feared species in the galaxy, each one capable of reducing a city to ash with their bare claws. Today would mark the formal submission of yet another species to the Dominion Empire. The humans of Earth had finally agreed to meet after months of devastating orbital bombardments that had reduced their major cities to rubble. It was always the same: initial defiance followed by the crushing weight of superior technology, and finally, inevitable surrender. The pattern had held true across 300 conquered worlds. Kethvak's mandibles clicked in anticipation as the massive doors slid open, revealing the negotiation chamber. At its center sat a simple circular table, around which representatives from various Dominion species had gathered to witness this historic moment. But something was wrong. Where he expected to see cowering humans prostrated on the floor, begging for mercy, he found instead 3 figures seated comfortably in chairs. They wore simple blue uniforms adorned with patches depicting a small blue-green planet. The center figure, a graying woman with sharp eyes, smiled pleasantly as she gestured to an empty chair across from them. "Warlord Kethvak, I presume?" she said, her voice carrying none of the trembling fear he was accustomed to hearing. "Please have a seat. I'm Admiral Sarah Chen, representing the United Earth Defense Coalition." The warlord's 4 eyes narrowed. "You dare remain seated in my presence, primitive?" His voice, amplified by his armor's vocal processors, boomed across the chamber. "Your species kneels before the might of the Dominion Empire." Admiral Chen tilted her head thoughtfully. "That's an interesting custom, but humans generally prefer to conduct business sitting down. Much more civilized, don't you think?" She gestured again to the empty chair. "The table's equipped with gravity adjusters if you need accommodation for your physiology." A collective gasp arose from the assembled alien dignitaries. The Zilithian ambassador's scales turned pale blue with shock. The Morthan delegate's proboscis twitched nervously. Never in the 1,000-year history of the Dominion Empire had anyone refused the ritual of submission. Kethvak's armor began to glow with barely contained rage. "Insolent creatures! I have reduced your cities to ash, your military fleets drift, as wreckage in the void. You have nothing left but the mercy I might choose to grant." "Actually," interjected the human to Chen's left, a younger man with calculating eyes, "that's not entirely accurate." He activated a holographic display that materialized above the table. "I'm Dr. Marcus Webb, Earth's chief strategic analyst. While you've certainly damaged our surface infrastructure, you've only managed to destroy roughly 12% of our actual military capabilities." The hologram showed a cutaway view of Earth, revealing vast underground networks, orbital platforms, hidden within asteroid fields, and submarine fleets moving beneath polar ice caps. "Humans have a rather unique approach to warfare, you see. We don't put all our eggs in one basket." Kethvak's honor guard shifted uneasily as they processed the implications. The third human, a stern-faced woman with cybernetic implants along her temple, spoke up. "I'm General Torres, Earth Defense Command. While you were bombing our cities, we were studying your tactics, your technology, your fleet formations. Fascinating stuff, really." She manipulated the hologram to show detailed schematics of Dominion ships. "Your vessels are certainly impressive, but they're designed for intimidation and overwhelming force against conventional opposition. Your shield generators, for instance, are calibrated for energy weapons, but have a curious vulnerability to kinetic projectiles delivered at specific velocities and trajectories." The color drained from Kethvak's exoskeleton. Those schematics were classified at the highest levels of the Dominion military hierarchy. Admiral Chen leaned forward slightly. "The truth is, Warlord, we could have ended this conflict weeks ago. But humans have learned that sometimes the most effective weapon isn't a bigger gun. It's understanding why the fighting started in the first place." She activated another display showing the Dominion Empire's territory. "Your empire spans 1,200 worlds, but your species numbers only about 4 billion. You're stretched incredibly thin, aren't you?" All this expansion, all this conquest, it's not about domination, it's about survival. Kethvak's breathing became labored. How could these primitive mammals have deduced what his own generals refused to acknowledge? Your homeworld is dying, Dr. Webb continued matter-of-factly. Stellar radiation from your sun has been increasing for millennia. You need new worlds, new resources, but more importantly, you need allies who can help you solve the problem instead of just postponing it. The warlord's legs suddenly felt unsteady. Around the chamber, alien delegates whispered among themselves, many beginning to question everything they thought they knew about the human species. General Torres stood and walked to a wall display showing Earth's blue marble surface. Humans have faced extinction-level events before. Ice ages, supervolcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts. We've survived them all. Not through conquest, but through adaptation and cooperation. She turned back to face the assembled aliens. We've developed terraforming technologies, stellar engineering techniques, and genetic adaptation protocols. Technologies that could save your homeworld and every other dying planet in your empire. Admiral Chen smiled warmly at the stunned warlord. So here's our counter-proposal. Instead of demanding our knees, why don't you take that seat? Let's discuss how humanity can help the Dominion Empire transition from a confederation built on fear into an alliance founded on mutual benefit. The chamber fell silent except for the quiet hum of life support systems. Kethvak stared at the offered chair, his worldview crumbling and reforming in real time. His armor's threat displays showed no immediate danger, but every instinct screamed that these humans represented something far more dangerous than any weapon. They offered hope. Slowly, with movements that spoke of centuries of burden, the warlord of the Dominion Empire lowered himself into the chair. For the first time in his life, he was not towering over conquered subjects, but sitting as an equal among potential allies. Admiral Chen's smile widened. Excellent. Now shall we begin with coffee? I find these discussions always go better with proper refreshments. And so began the end of an empire built on subjugation, and the birth of a galaxy united not by fear, but by the peculiarly human belief that every problem has a solution, if you're willing to ask the right questions. The humans had asked for a chair, and in doing so had offered the entire galaxy a seat at the table of tomorrow.